Good evening, everyone. And again, thank you for joining us tonight for our bi-weekly mindfulness meditation and Dharma talk for the week, or for our bi-weekly for January. Our theme this month is compassion and self-compassion for ourselves and compassion for others. So in 2 weeks, our next talk will be on compassion for others. And so compassion for ourselves can be very difficult sometimes. Sometimes we are much harder on ourselves and we expect a lot more from ourselves as well. And that can be hard. And so I picked a self-compassion guided meditation for this evening for a difficult situation. And then if you're in the US, you know that a difficult situation has already passed a few days ago, back on Wednesday, I believe, with the Capitol, the onrush of a mob onto our Capitol building. And again, I'm sure they'll take necessary precautions for Inauguration Day coming up in 9 days. But anyway, why don't we begin? Today is January 11th, and it's now about 6 p.m. And so we'll start off with a nice guided meditation for self or for a difficult situation. And go ahead and get yourself into a nice seated, comfortable position, and go ahead and close your eyes. Or you can keep them slightly open if you like. I'll guide you through this so you can close your eyes as I go through this. You can slightly open your eyes with a soft focus if you like. You can look downward, for a few feet, in front of you, or whatever's best for you. And then allow your spine to lift and your shoulders to soften. And then today, again, we'll practice some self-compassion. So take a full breath in and a long, slow breath out. And I invite you to think of a situation in your life right now that is difficult. Maybe you're feeling a little stressed, or you're worried about something happening, or perhaps there's tension in one of your relationships. This practice is only for a few minutes, so choose something that isn't too difficult. And bring this challenging situation to mind. What happened, or what do you think might happen? And now that you're holding this in your mind, I invite you to consider these things. First, simply acknowledge that this is a difficult situation. Find language that works for you to label what's happening right now. Perhaps this is a really tough situation. Maybe I feel a little afraid about this. Just bring mindful awareness to what's happening right now. Next, you can acknowledge that difficulty is a part of life. It's something that you've experienced before, and everyone around you has experienced it before too. Remind yourself of our common humanity. That difficulty is a part of our experience, and like everything else, it too will shift. Finally, I invite you to say to yourself from your mind, may I be kind to myself in this moment. Acknowledge that no matter how hard the situation is, you can still be kind to yourself. Use any out language that you'd like that supports the sense of kindness. Perhaps choose wording you would offer to a friend going through something similar. I'm here for you. It's going to be okay. You are loved. And if you like, rest your hand on your heart, offering kindness to yourself. Take a moment to take that kindness in. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And now, with that recognition of compassion for yourself, finish with a full, deep breath in and a long, slow breath out. Very good. And begin to awaken yourselves and bring yourself back into the present moment. Perhaps drink some tea or get yourself resituated to a nice, comfortable position, just as we talk. The new year itself can be a difficult time for most. A lot of times we think about what has happened in the previous year. And this year in 2020 was very challenging for most everyone as a result of COVID, whether you are self-quarantining, not able to go out to eat, couldn't visit family and friends for the holidays, especially, it was very hard. And so that meditation will help you just acknowledge the fact and bring mindful attention that, those times pass. And it's okay to have those feelings of difficulty or challenge. It's absolutely fine. But that they leave, right? We don't live in those moments, right? Part of our balance in maintaining a mindfulness lifestyle is maintaining that balance, that we don't live in a positive or a negative moment for too long. Positive moments are just as detrimental as negative moments if we stay there too long. Balance isn't always about watching out for the negative. It can also be watching out for the positive too much. Right? It's important that we have positive outlook. But in Buddhist philosophy, too much happiness, right, is just as detrimental. We maintain that balance. And so that compassion, that difficult situation, meditation we just did will help bring back that balance to where we are, right in the center, right in the center to where we are. So think about some other ways that there may have been some challenging times and you have brought yourself back. And you don't have to think about them necessarily right at this minute. What I find to be helpful is journaling. Right? We can write those challenging moments when, at the end of the day, or even while they're occurring, right then and there. You can write those moments down. And again, even if you reflect on them in the evening, it allows you the time to process them mindfully, not making a rash interpretation of something that may not be, as negative as you think it is. And sometimes that perspective, right? Distance, right? Helps bring back that balance so we can maintain that perspective, a good, positive, or good, middle balanced perspective to that situation. And so journaling helps. It certainly helps out a lot. And so try that. Give it a few minutes, as you write, and then reflect upon what you wrote. I think you'll be surprised. Even if you look at it just 2 or 3 days later, you don't even have to reread it right then and there. If you're like me, maybe you want to proofread it, right? Sometimes I have to write over the words that I wrote. I don't have the best handwriting. So I try to take my time, but I don't know. My handwriting has never been. Again, so my handwriting hasn't always been the best. I apologize for that momentary interruption for our talk. So again, my handwriting isn't always the best. It is this, and I really try to be diligent. So sometimes I have to go back in and write over it to make sure that it's legible to be a few days later. I do my best. And so that's something I'm forgiving on myself and something I've learned to accept. So that's why I end up typing a lot. But with a handwritten journal, I got to pay a little bit more attention, be a little bit more mindful when it comes to that. Keep my cup in front of here. Keep reaching over. Don't want to spill it. So self-compassion. Sometimes we make mistakes, right? Our mistakes can weigh on us heavily. But think about some mistakes that maybe you've done in the past that if you're watching this, you've certainly lived through them successfully, right? Mindfully, and you learn from them. And so oftentimes It takes a few times for us to learn from our mistakes. We don't always learn and pick up on them. Sometimes our ego gets in the way. Like, it'll work out next time. And maybe it does or doesn't. But just acknowledging our mistakes is enough to begin that process of self-compassion. And then maybe we can look into why we felt that way about that mistake. And there may be something a little bit more to it. Maybe we weren't as prepared for a situation as we could have been. Maybe it was something unexpected out of our control. And most of life's difficulties are coming from out of our control. We can't control everything. So the big things in life, we can't control very well, if at all. But what we can always control is our attitude and our perspective of it. And so that's being compassionate to ourselves as well. The compassion that we experience and that we allow ourselves to acknowledge that compassion. And as I mentioned briefly in the beginning, there is, we had a difficult situation last week. And that situation probably weighs heavily on a lot of us, worried about our country and where we stand and our future. And the only thing that we can do is maintain a positive, hopeful outlook. And again, on the 20th coming up, we have another situation, or not a situation, but the inauguration, right? I guess that could be a situation, right? It's a positive situation, something that we are hopeful and joyous about. And so that's what we need to maintain, that positive perspective. And so we don't allow ourselves to dwell on the negative in those situations. That's the future. We don't know what the future brings. And so we can't live there. And so, again, maintaining that positive perspective, that self-compassion for ourselves is very important in our growth and in understanding others. In order for us to understand others, we have to understand ourselves. And allowing us to accept those challenging emotions, challenging situations, allows us to grow. And then we can express our positivity, right? We've learned from a situation because of our compassion to ourselves, and we can relate that positive compassion, that positive outlook, that positive perspective, and our positive actions towards others. And so I'd like to conclude this with, maintain that positivity, maintain that perspective of hopefulness and the joyfulness. Right? But we maintain that balance too, understanding that there are going to be challenging days. Everybody has them. I have them. Right? I have them as well. Challenging days, and days don't go as well as I would expect, but that's my expectations, and I acknowledge them. They are what they are, right? And again, if you're watching this on the replay, I thank you, and I appreciate your time and effort for spending this valuable and your precious, valuable time with me here tonight. And if you like these videos and our live streams, please feel free to subscribe, and you can be notified. We do them every 2 weeks. Just as an FYI, we do them every 2 weeks, Mondays from 6 to 6:30 Central Time, or 6:30 about. Right? And I wish you all well on your journey, but the important thing is maintain that compassion for yourself. And then next week, or in 2 weeks, we'll talk about compassion towards others, because that compassion towards ourselves, again, bleeds over towards, it radiates towards others as well. Okay? Try journaling. All right? That would be your mindful assignment to help progress. Try journaling. And maybe we can talk about that next time. I wish you well. I wish you all a peaceful journey. Namaste.